Hi, it's Pride Month! In honor of Pride Month, I want to introduce some historical figures who are not Leonardo da Vinci, but are also gay or bisexual. Allegedly. You know what I mean. So this week I am going to talk about two people who were both ancient Greek warriors. First up is actually a fictional character, Achilles. I really love Achilles, but I will try to make this as quick as possible. So, quick biography. He was the son of King Peleus and Thetis. Thetis was a Nereid. The Nereids are the 50 daughters of Nereus. So you will often see her described as either a sea nymph or a sea goddess. Achilles was possibly the greatest warrior of his era. He fought during the Trojan War. He died towards the end before the Greeks won and destroyed Troy. So that's a very quick summary of his life. He's probably best known for his role in the Iliad. The story of the Trojan War we know is a myth, but Troy was a real place. There was some sort of conflict. We believe the Trojan War is set around the year 1250 BCE, and the Iliad was composed around the year 750 BCE. The Iliad is not the full story of the Trojan War. It was part of the epic cycle which told the full story, but the Iliad itself takes place over the course of about 2 weeks during the last year of the war. So the basic plot of the Iliad, it's about the anger of Achilles. Seeing goddess, the anger of Peleus' son Achilles. Yeah, Lattimore does some unique spellings. So at first he's angry at the Greeks because Agamemnon took his slave Briseis, so he refuses to fight. The Greeks start to lose, so eventually Achilles agrees to let his companion Patroclus put on his armor and lead their men into the fight. Patroclus gets killed by Hector, so Achilles is now mad at Hector. He enters the fight. He kills hundreds of men. He clogs up the river with their bodies, so the river is angry, and then he fights the river. Eventually, he reaches Hector, he kills him, and he drags his corpse around the city of Troy. And the story ends with the funeral of Hector. So the main question of today is, were Achilles and Patroclus lovers? So as many people are quick to point out, Homer never explicitly says they were. Based just on the Iliad, it can go either way. If you go in thinking they are close companions, you will find evidence for that. If you go in looking for evidence of their love, you will find evidence for that. One of my favorite quotes is after Patroclus dies, Achilles is talking to his mother. "My dear companion has perished, Patroclus, whom I loved beyond all other companions as well as my own life. I have lost him." I will skip a few lines and then, "The spirit within does not drive me to go on living and be among men, except on condition that Hector first be beaten down under my spear, lose his life, and pay the price for stripping Patroclus, the son of Menoetios." Debates about their relationship have literally lasted millennia. For example, amongst ancient Greeks, Xenophon said they were just friends, whereas Aeschylus and Plato believed they were lovers in a pederastic relationship. Although they actually had a disagreement. In his play The Myrmidons, Aeschylus said Achilles was the Erastes, whereas Plato thought he was the Eromenos. So really, how you view their relationship is up to you. Personally, I view it as romantic. Lots of people view it that way and write it that way, but there are, of course, people who don't. Next up is Alexander the Great. He was an ancient Greek king from Macedonia. His empire was about 2 million square miles, basically from Greece to the western edge of modern-day India. He ruled for about 13 years before dying at the age of 32. The most important thing about Alexander is he was a huge Achilles fanboy. He was supposedly descended from Achilles. He was nicknamed Achilles. He had his own specially made copy of the Iliad that he took with him on his campaigns, and supposedly kept it under his pillow while he slept. There are some other facts that I will bring up as we go along. Another important thing is his best friend was Bucephalus. They were about the same age. They met when Alexander was about 12 years old, and he was a horse. Legend has it that, some people were trying to sell this giant horse to King Philip, but no one could control it. Alexander made a bet against his father that if he could tame this horse, then his father would buy it for him. Philip agreed, so Alexander went out. He knows that Bucephalus was scared of his shadow, so he turned the horse's head towards the light. Yeah, it worked. They became best friends, and they remained together until Bucephalus died at about 30 years old. When he died, Alexander immediately named a city after him. And of course, Alexander compared his horse Bucephalus to the horses of Achilles, which were immortal gifts from Poseidon. So according to his biographer, Robin Lane Fox, he slept with at least 1 man, 4 mistresses, 3 wives, a eunuch, and, so gossip believed, an Amazon. His most important companion was Hephaestion. So Alexander and Hephaestion were about the same age. They grew up together. They studied under their teacher Aristotle. Aristotle described them as one soul abiding in 2 bodies. Naturally, they were compared to Achilles and Patroclus, and they actually encouraged this comparison themselves. For example, when they visited Troy, Alexander laid a wreath on the supposed grave of Achilles, and Hephaestion laid one on the grave of Patroclus. Some people will point out that this doesn't mean they were necessarily lovers, but it is worth knowing that during this era, a lot of people did believe they were lovers, including Alexander's teacher's teacher, Plato. Years after their death, the Cynic philosophers claimed that Alexander was defeated only once, and that was by Hephaestion's thighs. When Hephaestion died, Alexander cut off all his hair, which was what Achilles did when Patroclus died. He also had Hephaestion honored as a divine hero. He set many memorials for him. He ended up spending over $200 million of today's money. Alexander was still planning more memorials for Hephaestion when he himself died less than a year later. Because Alexander left no heirs, he just had 1 unborn son. There was dispute over how to divide up his empire, so it ended up being split amongst his friends. And a fun fact is his friend Ptolemy became Pharaoh of Egypt, and that started the Ptolemaic line, which lasted about 300 years until Cleopatra's death. So I think I covered all the important points. I could talk about Achilles for literally hours, but that's not what today is for. Anyways, happy Pride!